Texoma Exotics presents Not Another Reptile podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Rockin' music. Awesome.
Rockin'. Thank you to my cousin Kobe. He hooked us up. So
that's a killer intro.
Thank you, Kobe. You said Kobe. Thank you, Kobe.
Yep. And we have some amazing guests today. I'm so excited for them. Jamie hooked us up. She reached out. I get kind of shy, and been pretty busy here lately. So
these people are probably the first friends that I've made in the hobby. When it first started, I was going to local shows. It's the Harbins, the Herpin Harbins, and I didn't know who their dad was. I didn't know anything, and or Josh's dad. They were the first people I met in the hobby, and we became like regulars at their booth at all the local shows they showed up in, and then our friendship kind of grew as we were in the same Patreon with Shane. So I love them. They're great people, and yeah, they were my first friends I made in the reptile hobby.
And you
now,
guys,
here they are. Here they will be in just a second.
You guys are really close too. That's neat. You live close together, and they come over to your house and helped you out, and it's neat.
Yeah, it's been real fun.
Do some shout outs real quick. Hey, Will, what's up?
What's up, Will?
Frank, how's it going, Frank?
What up?
Hey, Mike, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. And the other Mike. All right, let's bring him on stage, y'all. Oh.
We got our little hats on.
Hey, guys. Go Balls.
Go Balls. This is what we wear to the games, so we look ridiculous. But this is an antique hat that I ripped right out of the bag when we got it. And I wear it on my head all the time at the games. I don't give a crap.
I didn't know they were collectible. I saw it online. Like, yeah, she'd love to wear that. And we get it here. And she puts it on at a game. And somebody's like, where did you find that? They haven't made those since the 90s. I'm like, oh, we're just tailgating.
That's great.
Had to come in on like that because we love that picture of us acting like idiots at a game.
I couldn't find a coonskin hat that had a bill. Like, I needed to block the sun. So I just took an old visor and stuck like a $10 truck stop coonskin hat on top of it.
Well, it's also sometimes at the games, it's like 90 degrees. I'm like, you don't really want to wear real coonskin. You'll cook yourself out there. So
I want one so bad. I priced one, and a real coonskin hat, you're looking at $400 or $500.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a lot.
So I feel like you got a few coons around there local that you could probably do something with for a lot cheaper.
We've threatened a few that have come into the cat room like, hey, we've got a purpose for y'all. Y'all need to get on out of here. But they like to eat our cat food. They've got really good coats too, so that makes it even more tempting. But we're not really good at doing that kind of stuff, so we just let them live their lives. But
I can imagine wearing a coonskin hat by somebody that's just now getting into skinning and tanning might be a little hazardous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does that smell?
Can they put the face? That's the one I want. I want the face.
The actual face on the front and the tail off the back. I'm like, that's just so creepy.
And I want them to hold like a little miniature rifle,
baby
like
gun.
the Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's funny.
You guys have thought way too much about this.
I have.
What's up?
What else do you guys do over there besides raise hognose and ball pythons? Some fishy stuff
we
going on.
Corn snakes.
Hey,
We
Charlie.
raise our own rodents. We listen to a lot of music. We go to football games. We go to baseball games when we can. Apparently, we're going to basketball games this year because we're buying season tickets
we bought
for that.
tickets for that now. So.
And then, when we can, we go out on the boat with Brian and Beth Ann Carter, BC Balls. We like to do that on Sundays when we're here.
The marina's like 5 minutes from our house.
Yeah.
So they have to drive all the way to Knoxville, but we just meet them.
We just moved down the road. That was last year before everything kind of got shaken up. But this week we're home. Next week we'll be in Montgomery, Alabama, taking care of the animals that are still down there. But there's only there's like 55 down there. So it really only takes Josh and I about 2 or 3 hours to get through feeding, cleaning, watering, tub changes on anybody.
There used to be 400 animals down there.
Yeah. So that would take a full day, a day and a half. And so now it's just adults. Like, we're not dealing with babies and stuff like that. We usually help his mom like freeze down a bunch of rodents. We did, I don't know, probably froze down about 500 rodents while we were there last weekend, and bag them up, put them in the freezers, help her with the goats when we need to. She likes to make more goats, and we saw the billy in with the does again this summer. And I'm like, did we not learn last year what happens when the billy's in with the does? But I guess we're having more baby goats this year, and that's fine. Yeah. And then we work, like I worked all week this week, which is unusual. First time I've worked since Tom passed away a full week, because I've gone on to 2 days a week just to take care of all the animals here. But my boss was out of town for vacation. I covered him so that, the other vet wasn't by herself the whole week.
That was a lot.
There's a lot this week. A lot of, typical everything, regular care, along with helping, keep the clinic going. And then we resealed some concrete.
We were out the building, sealing concrete.
Yeah.
And then it rained today, and the water was like beating off of it.
So exciting.
It's constant rain. It's constant rain. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And we started, like, I got home from work yesterday. Josh had power washed the outside concrete, because we want to get that sealed before we do the acid stain on the inside, so that when we rinse that out, we don't inadvertently stain the outside also. And we just want it sealed. So, like, the cars coming on it and stuff like that, we don't have dirt and oil that stick to it. Yeah. And so we're like, we've got this window, and then it's going to be raining for the next 10 days. Yeah. And so we got out there and we just worked as fast as we could, and we got it sealed. There's only a couple of blocks that we ran out of juice. And so we're going to have to finish that up later, but we got the majority of it done. Of a sealer, a juice sealer.
We had all the juice.
We had all this. Yeah, we had juice. Yeah. But no, we got a lot done yesterday. And then you did a lot of rodent work today, and I tried to do some stuff on Morph Market. I'm like turtle pace on there. We've got about 100 animals I need to get put on there, so everybody stay tuned. And eventually these animals are like 300 and 400 grams now, and so they're like well established, because I've taken so long to get them on there. Right. Jamie's got a snake. We got to get to her at some point.
Oh yeah, she won an auction. Congrats!
Yeah, I did. I'm super excited.
Yeah, what'd you get? Be good. That's a good snake.
No, he's now you put me on the spot. He is a clown, het DG, pastel, vanilla, which I don't have vanilla. And so
and he's leopard too.
He's leopard too. Vanilla. So yeah, pastel, leopard, vanilla, clown, het DG.
Het DG. So, yeah. So it'll be good for DG clown projects.
DG clown, and he's gonna help me get clown into my DG Pied project. So this year I'll have visual pieds, hopefully het DG, all of them. And then as long as I have a visual pied, I'll pair him to the visual pied het DG, visual clown het DG. Worst case scenario, I have triple heads. So
yeah,
that's not a visual. That would be great. Visual double head, visual DG double head would be awesome.
Definitely.
So yeah, he'll be going to work.
Yeah, he'll be fine with that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, and I don't have vanilla, and I love vanilla.
And that's it's a good thing to add, especially like with vanilla testing and disco and fire and all that stuff. Start blending that in. You'll have some really pretty combos. And pastel with vanilla is a little hard, but luckily the mom was a super vanilla, so that made it easy. But now with testing, if you get confused, it's like, oh, okay, let's just go test it to see if there's vanilla in there or not. So
what I really liked about him is that the vanilla and maybe the het DG influence also kind of made his entire body match his head.
Yeah,
because sometimes with the pastel, you get like a Frankenstein snake. As my husband calls them.
There was 2 clutches that had those combos in it. One other clutch had yellow belly in it too, and the all of them are just absolutely beautiful animals. And so really cool projects. We're gonna hold back a couple to work on, like super vanilla, super Leo, DG clown kind of stuff like that. Right. And then we'll probably blend it in with some other things. Obviously, that's kind of what we like doing, but really pretty snakes, and they're all good eaters. And the dad is a powerful breeder, and so that's always nice to have behind them. So
that's awesome. So our first deal was getting to know you guys. Sounds like y'all are just super busy people, man. You way more energy than I have. So you're a veterinarian?
Yes, I'm a veterinarian, 20 years now. I grew up in vet medicine. I am a small animal vet. I don't consider myself an exotics vet, but I do like to help people on the side, like just kind of basic stuff. I try not to dabble in any species that I don't already keep or know well. When I first got out of veterinary school, I worked for Tom for my first year, which was very important. That first year out of school, you learn a lot from that person that you work with. So he did exotics, not a ton, but enough that I got to learn stuff while I was working with him. And then I worked for a guy here in Knoxville for about 3 years, and he did a lot of exotics. And so I got that ingrained in me. And then I went out into mobile work, and then I never saw exotics. And then the guy that I work for now is just like anti-snake. And so I'll see a few rabbits here and there. And then like I did a guinea pig thing yesterday and that kind of stuff. But that's
like snake food.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Like this could, I could feed this to something, but no, it's not that bad. I do think they're good pets. They're good pets. Don't get me wrong, but it's not my jam. And so, when I do like help with the reptile stuff, it's really just like friends and people that I know.
I went to vet school for 3 semesters.
You did.
That's how we met.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask.
Okay.
I was gonna ask if you knew Josh when you worked for Tom, or was
I met Josh. I was in first year anatomy class, and I remember him coming in a couple of times with this chick that was in my class. I mean, we were first years, we barely knew each other, but I'd started hanging out with her, and I saw him talking to her and bringing food into her. I was like, who is this guy? And so then us girls on Wednesday nights would go to Hooters to get cheap beer and shrimp and make ourselves feel good about ourselves. Like, hey, this is why we're killing ourselves in school, so we don't have to go do this. And he started coming with some of his guy friends because they found out all us girls were at Hooters eating and drinking. And so then we met there, and I'm like, who is this guy?
15-cent shrimp. That's how long ago
that was a long time. It's been a while.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's super cheap, like $5 bucket of beer kind of thing. And so we started talking, and then we ended up I knew who Dr. Harbin was because he was we grew up in neighboring towns, but we never knew each other. But my sister had a pet iguana when we were younger, and my mom would take her over to Manchester, which was the neighboring town, to the veterinarian there.
We grew up 15 minutes away from each other, had no clue.
And so I never went to the clinic because I didn't go when they had the iguana checks. And so my mom knew Dr. Harbin because she worked for Dr. Singleton in Tullahoma, which is where I'm from. And that's the veterinary clinic I grew up in. And so I always knew of Dr. Harbin. And then my mom got me a snake in 1995 for Christmas that was bred by the veterinarian in the neighboring town. Well, that was Dr. Harbin. And that was my melanistic corn snake that I had many years before I ever met Josh. And
we started dating, and I see this albino corn snake sitting over there at tank. Where'd you get that? I know of one guy in Coffee County that breeds those.
Yeah, and that's the guy it came from, and that's my parents bought that for my Christmas present.
Our paths were intertwined
a lot.
A lot.
And so that's how we met. Is I was already in veterinary school, but I'd heard of Dr. Harbin. I knew who Dr. Harbin was, and I remember even calling my mom at one point. I said, "Mom, why didn't you tell me Dr. Harbin had a good-looking son?" And she's like, "Oh, he's Church of Christ." And I'm like, "What is it?" I'm like, "Holy crap!"
As long as he believes, right?
And I remember my parents asked where do they go to church. I'm like, well, they go to First Methodist. They're like, like oil and water. Oh no, different flavors of Christians.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Yeah, but
so Josh, what do you do for work?
So after they kicked me out of vet school, actually they strong armed me into resigning from vet school. Is how it looks like on paper. But they pretty much told me to get out because I wasn't into it. I just wanted to follow the family footsteps. I love working at the clinic. I love working with people and being around animals. Once I got into vet school, I could tell it wasn't clicking. And after I got out of vet school, I wanted to just make stuff. I was like, I don't know what yet. There happened to be a machinist trade school across the street. I said, you know what? Let's go make some parts out of metal. And I started cutting metal. Did that for about a decade. And along the way, I kept working with engineers. And I'm like, I can do what they do. I can probably do it better, actually. And so
typical engineer personality.
So I went back to school, got an associate's, leveled up at that job, kept going to school, got my bachelor's, and leveled up again. And so I'm still trying to climb the corporate ladder in my 40s, I guess. But I enjoy it. Now I do machining research. So we don't have to pump out parts anymore. We're just trying to prove out the machine, try to see what the machine can do, try to find better ways to make the machine perform. And then we disseminate that information across the U.S. to whoever will take it. That's what now I work at Oak Ridge National Labs. And we don't make parts, we make data, we make information, so we can share that with people. Maybe it's one of the DO something's department of somethings, maybe it's individual shops, maybe it's a big partner, a big time like Boeing or Caterpillar, who knows what it's going to do. So it's nice because we get to dabble in all sorts of stuff. So in this household, we say, if it rusts, I can fix it. And if it bleeds, she can fix it.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Well, that's awesome. Okay, we've got a quick segment we need to play here.
Oh, she always springs this on me without any warning whatsoever.
Bam, there it is.
On your toes.
Put it
At least I
right where
wasn't in
you
the
want
middle of saying something when she cut me off and play the intro. She likes to do that. She likes to wait till I'm talking and then cut to it.
Yep.
Cut to
So anyway, so my job here is to give people tasteless trivia facts if I can find them. Usually about reptiles, but tonight we're going to change things up a little bit and we're going to actually do some trivia about the Harbins.
Ooh.
So we're going to test my co-hosts. We're going to test the people that are in the chat, and we're going to see what they know about the Harbins. And some of this stuff might be things that the Harbins themselves don't know. No.
Oh, crap.
I'm scared.
I'm worried now.
A little nervous.
We may or may not have had a conversation before the show. All
I have no
right, so
recollection, Your Honor.
Mm-mm.
we're gonna go back to when Alicia was growing up, and so this excludes the corn snake, by the way. Her most memorable. You guys are gonna have to choose, okay? So same people, same thing, guys in the chat. Put your comment up there. Alicia's most memorable pet was A, her camel, B, her ostrich, or C, her monkey. Holly, which one do you think it was?
Her monkey.
It's her camel.
Tyler,
It's her camel.
her camel.
I'll say ostrich.
Ostrich. Okay, we got one of each. Anybody in the chat want to take a guess? Camel. We got two for camel. Dang, they might be onto something. Well, turns out it was in fact her camel. It was her most
Wow.
memorable. Alicia, you want to give us just a quick little bit about your camel?
I had a camel?
Those Tennessee camels, they're some of the best.
What?
I've never had a camel.
Oh, you got to be honest about this stuff. We talked about it earlier. All
Now,
right,
I
well,
will say this. In vet school, she was known as the camelid whisperer
Yeah.
because she had a way in vet school with alpacas, crias. So,
Because I would spit in their face. So, dominance in the camelid alpaca world is spitting. And so I would hawk a loogie. I'd start squishing it in my mouth and I would spit it at them as I walked up. And they used to call me out of small animal vet like things. They're like, hey, call Alicia in because we've got this alpaca that's having an attitude problem. Or, I think I got called in like 3 different times. I was like, why y'all call me over large animal? I'm on small animal rotation. They're like, yeah, we've got this issue over here. So I'd go I'm like, guys, just swoosh around and spit in their face and you got it. And that's what I would do. And
It's
That's
showing
how-
your dominance all over the
Yeah.
place.
but it's just the camelid family that prefers to be spit in their face.
I get spit on. a
you
lot.
heard it here first, folks.
It doesn't work for
Nobody
him. It
before
does not
ever
work.
knew about Alicia's camel whispering. All right. Next one, we're gonna go to Josh. So when Josh was in college, he was A, captain of the badminton team, B, captain of the curling team, or C, president of the glee club. Holly, which one was it?
C.
C, Tyler.
Glee.
Glee club. Oh, there's 2. They know you,
I was gonna
Josh.
say Glee too. Also, that's what I was gonna say. So
You guys all get 1,000 non-redeemable points. Josh was in fact the president of the glee club.
nice. You said you
How
did.
about that?
You
Nobody
said
knew
you
that
love
about
music.
Josh. He's apparently very musical.
Alicia, did you know that about Josh?
I've heard him sing, and I don't know how he'd be president of anything.
I feel like
Oh,
an
dang.
amputee. I can't carry a note and I can't hold the tune.
But you're political. You got the presidency.
Well, it turns out sometimes when you're really, really bad at something, they just promote you to get
They
you
just
out of
promote
the
you
mix.
to the top,
Those
and they
who
really
can't
do.
teach. Those who can't teach.
That's
There you
right.
go.
Those who can't do manage.
That's right.
All right. So when Alicia is cleaning snakes and doing stuff in the Happy Herbins Hognose Heaven house, her favorite rap song that she listens to is A, Today Was a Good Day by Ice Cube, B, California by Dre, Snoop, and Tupac, or C, Amish Paradise by Weird Al Yankovic. Holly, which one?
B.
B, California, Dre, Snoop, and Tupac.
That's what I would
Tupac.
pick anyway.
Tyler?
Yeah, B.
No,
B?
I love Amish Paradise. Like, I'm a huge Weird Al fan, but I don't know if Alicia is. So I'm going to say California.
California. Alicia, which one of these was your favorite again?
Definitely anything Snoop Dogg. We actually
Anything
have
Snoop
quite a
Dogg, so
few
yeah.
of his records. We have records for Snoop.
Nice.
That's how old school we go with that. So yeah, I mean, that's probably would definitely be the top of the list. You came and hear me
There you
jamming
go.
out.
California it is. All
That
right,
or
last
Outcast.
question.
Yeah, I got to have Outcast.
So when he's relaxing, Josh is the most comfortable in his A, kilt, B, singlet, or C, panda suit. Holly.
I
A,
don't
B, or
even know
C?
what that question was about. I don't even understand it. So I'll go with B.
A, guilt.
A, kilt. Jamie?
I don't know what B is, so I'm going to say panda suit. Sorry, Josh.
Panda suit. We got some A's in there. I think people are, we got a C. People are voting for kilt and for panda suit. C.
Panda
C
suit.
it is. It's the panda suit. He likes wearing that thing even in the heat. It's kind of weird, but
The
whatever
trash
floats his boat,
pandas
I
or
guess.
real pandas?
I'd have to vote for A because I know he'd walk around here naked more than he'd wear anything.
I was going to say, yeah, D for a birthday suit.
Birthday suit. Like, I'm just like, babe, you're gonna have to put some clothes on. The rat girl's coming over to help.
Right.
Run around.
I like
Underwear.
Frank is dying for some demonstrations here, guys.
I
So get
prefer
your
to-
panda suit on and start singing.
Ooh, we'd get
So
this
there you
shut
go.
down.
That little bit of
Pretty
trivia,
quick,
and we
pretty
uncovered
fast
some things about the Harbins that nobody ever knew before. Alicia can
Awesome.
spit on camels. Josh wears a panda suit.
All kinds of good stuff.
There you go. Not
That
that you
was a
cared,
good
but now you
That
know.
was funny.
That was good.
Yep. Good one. Okay. Your new facility. Can you give us an update on everything?
Yeah, we've been trying to hit that hard. I've discovered that I am horrible at contracting work out. I'm just trying. I know how to make the machines and parts flow through a machine shop, but when it comes to doing contractors, that's a whole nother deal. So we're trying to do as much as we can at this point. I do have a buddy at work that's going to help us do the stud walls. I've got another previous coworker is going to help us with the electrics. Actually got some other friends here in town, the hat makers. They're HVAC guys, so they're going to come in this week and give us basically help us size the machines. The next phase, and it's very weather dependent right now because the building doesn't have doors on it, it's opens, but we're wanting to stain the concrete. We're going to try to do some creative stains and get the floor sealed. Once the floor is sealed, it's it's game on. So
Yeah.
we're going to try to push as hard as we can. We were aiming for July 4th to get it done by then. That's 1 year of losing dad. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's probably going to be more of an early fall.
Yeah.
But we don't want to rush it and cut any corners. We want to build this well so it can be a 20-year building and not just a 5-year quick fix.
Yeah. It's already a really good building because it's 64 by 30 interior. And on the back side, there's a 10 by 64 lean-to that we can enclose in if we need to. All concreted now. And now we've got a large concrete pad that extends around from the front to the side that even connects to the back concrete. So we can pull in underneath even the cover if we need to unload equipment. We can
we had the coffee table out. We're laying out the exactly where we want electrical outlets today, like exactly where we want power.
Yeah.
That's gonna.
Yeah.
We want weird power. You know, you can't tell people, "Oh, I'm building a snake barn." Like, "Oh, I know exactly what you need." They have no idea when we say that.
Right.
We're, you know, like we want outlets up in the air, like 7 feet in the air, not down at the low. So, the requirements we want are kind of unique, but luckily my coworker, we were talking him through it. He really understands, and he actually
cool with it.
He is good friends with the county inspector. And I said, ask him about these 2 or 3 weird things and how we can accomplish this, but not break the rules.
That's where it also got kind of funky, because we thought it was just going to be just a county inspection, which is what everything else is. But with electric, there has to be a state inspection, and it has to be all completed at once. Because what we were hoping is we could build out the rodent component, like get the basic electric started, get the rodent room built, and get all the rodents up from Alabama before it gets too hot, and have that area running, and then build out the ball python room, and then the hog, and then the finish up later. And now we have to have all electric, including all HVAC, completed for final inspection. So that's what's kind of made it kind of like, oh, we got to do it a different way than what we planned on. But it's still doable. It's like I said, hat makers, I think, are actually coming out tomorrow to help us kind of reevaluate all the HVAC. And I think that's going to be maybe one of the more simple things. And then we can just start going. Once that floor is sealed, we're good.
So I have a logistics question. How are you going to move all of those rodents when it is that warm? We did a pretty big transfer of I think it was 16 racks worth of rodents from Connecticut to New York.
Yeah.
That was fun, but it was also 30 degrees out.
Yeah.
How are you guys going to do that?
Probably 2 things. And this is what Dad did when he moved from Tennessee down to the farm in Alabama. They did a midnight run. They literally waited for the sun to go down, cool off. And they had a goat trailer. And so they strapped the racks shut, so nothing would slide in and out. I think he said they put some tarps up on the walls of the goat trailer to try to knock down some of the wind.
Yeah.
He did say by the time they got to Alabama, there were 2 tubs open that were empty. So between Tennessee and Alabama, there were some high-speed rats on the road. But yeah, to get around the temperature, we're gonna try to do a midnight run.
It'll be overnight, and it'll be a long haul, because I mean it's a little over 5 hours if we don't stop, which we usually stop at least once or twice just to stretch our legs. So it'll end up being probably like a 7-hour trip, just because we'll have a trailer pulled behind us just to get it. But we can do it through the night. So there's
been some developments today.
We're trying
to make some stuff happen that might be able to make that happen soon.
Yeah, there may be a secondary building with some dog friends of ours, which I'm hoping kind of works out. They've been interested in the rodent components of all this. And we had discussed already kind of like a secondary rodent growing location. And they are very, very interested. So they may be coming out tomorrow too to talk to us about that. And then we've got a potential purchase of some more rodent materials that can get moved over there. And then maybe we can go ahead and start moving rodents to that secondary location to hold it until we get the building done. And so I'm hoping that works out. That would make it a lot easier on us while we still have a little bit better weather to get them moved.
Yeah, sounds like it.
The snakes are easy, guys. I mean, like everybody's like, oh, snakes. Like, you know what? We bring a few back each visit, now the racks are almost full. So we really don't have a place to put anything else.
We've literally brought the whole collection up here, like 10 at a time.
Yeah.
We'll get a couple of 70 series, put them in pillowcases and throw 5 or 3 or 4 in each one and
just move them up here.
Easy
and
peasy.
So, as we sell a few here, then we move more up. As, things get shifted around in their grow out tubs, we shift things around. And so, but right now it's just the few that are left down there, they're still kind of on the, are you staying or are you going? And it's really helping us analyze our future breeding plans and like what projects we're going to work on. And so a lot of the ones that are still down there are probably going to be for sale pretty soon, just because we kind of are near the end of like, okay, this is the core collection right here. Anything else is going to be investment animals or animal holdbacks that we keep from this year's project breeding.
Each time we go down and clean, we're grading them just like grading baseball cards. Like, all right, how does this one fit in? Like, is it a low number or a high number?
Yeah. It's really helped us to be able to look at it like that.
So what are you guys getting out of now that you're consolidating? But you have projects that were ongoing. They're like, all right, this project is no longer priority enough to keep.
Yeah,
snakes.
like honestly, like single recessive gene projects are getting kind of cut. We had clown stuff that we were working heavier clown. We had DG stuff that we were working heavily DG. If it's not DG clown, it doesn't stay. And even DG clown right now is going into monarch. So our DG clown numbers are going down. We're kind of, we're still working G stripe clown, but we're working it more on, with collabs right now, because we don't have the right animals and they don't have the right animals. So we're doing collabs on that. So monarch is, 1, 2, and 3. And then our Dreamsicle Holy Grail project is still up there, but it's still not a huge component. That was Josh and I's projects. And then our G stripe clown, and then kind of DG clown. That's all kind of interlaced there. So it's mainly like a lot of the single gene stuff that we're going to have to just go ahead and be like, okay, well, they don't really have a current purpose. Let's go ahead and get them someplace else.
Or it's stuff that was held back waiting on testing. And once monarch testing was released, we've really been able to not thin, but like animals that we were hoping that just aren't.
I guess we're still got puzzle too. That's the only single recessive gene that we're working like by itself right now, but we are putting in with other stuff. And so
we've got some krypton sprinkled.
Yeah, krypton.
Krypton stuff.
Yeah, we're just going to push it into some of our other things too. And so Tom had like Trojan stuff, but Trojan without, any recessive genes. And so we're going to go ahead and let go of that. He had some just kind of like little random things here and there that we're going to go ahead and let go of too, just like little kind of combo genes. So.
We found the limit of the number of animals quickly that we could manage and maintain and keep this hobby fun.
Yeah.
When the two collections had to combine, just the sheer time that took kind of redlined us pretty quick. Like, okay, this is too much. Now we're down to a number that is manageable but busy.
Yeah.
So we'd like to step it down probably another 50 less animals, and I think we'd be in the sweet spot.
Yeah, because I mean, inevitably we've got 180 to 190 hognose eggs in the incubator right now, and that's getting ready to start popping out, and then pretty much our collection and even Tom's collection of ball pythons, they don't really start going into closer to July, August, September, but then when they're going to start going. I told Josh at first, I said, I don't think I'm going to pair that many. Well, that was crap. I think I paired 20. That's, that's more than not much. And
so what's funny is we first started taking care of the collection. Mom kept saying like, well, I'm glad, Tom was, what was the word she used? She's paring back or scaling back.
Scaling back.
He paired 32 animals. Or he had 32 clutches. He had
33 clutches.
I don't know what else he paired, but
that's not scaling down.
That's called hammering down.
Yeah, especially with the collection. I mean, he didn't have like.
I'm guessing what happened is Dad told Mom he was focusing, and she probably thought that meant focusing like less, but he meant he's going heavy in this
into
direction.
These specific directions. He was letting go of certain projects, and he was importing animals from other countries. He was not paring down. But we just let her believe that and just move on, and it's okay.
That's awesome. We need to play a quick sponsors.
If you need to accelerate your breeding plans, use Charlie at Grey Rider Reptiles for fast and reliable shed testing services. His testing services offer both speed and accuracy, ensuring that you receive dependable results in a timely manner. As a valued customer, he is happy to offer you a 15% discount on your purchase. Visit www.shedtesting.com and use code Texoma15 during checkout to take advantage of the offer. Limit of 2 users per customer.
Meet Sammy, a ball python breeder with a specialty in the pipe project. When you meet him, don't be shy to ask questions about his snakes, as he loves to share his knowledge and experience with others. He is a friendly and approachable guy who is always happy to chat with fellow reptile enthusiasts. Whether you are a seasoned snake breeder or just starting out, Sammy is the perfect person to connect with if you are interested in the Pied project. So keep a lookout for that hot pink shirt.
Python Suzy. He's been professionally fondling pythons since April 2024. Before that, it was just for fun. He has balls and golans, and soon he'll have dwarf Burmese pythons in his collection. He loves dark clowns, leopards, and long walks on the beach with sunsets. He thinks orange dream and blackhead are salt and pepper on a good steak. Hit him up. He'll talk about just about anything. Hey, I guess I'm up. So I tried to find hognose jokes. I didn't find any good ones. So I found snake ones, and so this is just what we have. So, but I tried to do the hognose jokes for you guys. There's just y'all joke writers need to get more hognose jokes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They're too entertaining not to have more.
All of it was just about drama, and there's not snake people writing it. So we'll see. I'll do better next time. But what do you call a snake that bakes?
A snake that bakes?
That bakes, yeah.
A baker.
It's a python. These ones are not that better.
Oh my gosh.
Sounds like something Josh would say.
Yeah.
I do the dad jokes. This is what I do.
He's good at that.
What do you call a funny snake?
Hysterical.
Hysterical. Yep. And why are snakes hard to fool? I'm gonna give Josh a minute because, like, he's trying.
We used to write some of these on a little dry erase board on our table, and I had this one down at some point, but it's
God, his brain cell lost it. I can't remember it either.
They don't have any legs to pull.
yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he used to. That's what one of our things on our little setup for the longest is he would come up with some kind of snake dad joke, and it would be on our show thing for the longest. We haven't done that in forever.
What do the towels say at the married couple's snake house?
Oh,
Say
I know
that
this
again.
one. I know it.
Say that again, Josh.
What do the married couple's snake towels say at their house?
Mm.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Jamie.
His and hers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's corny.
What do you,
like
what,
it.
do you, what do you call a snake that works for the government?
Looks just like a ghost.
I don't know.
Oh, I do. I know it.
Go.
A civil serpent.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Never fails.
That is
That's my jokes.
Yeah. He's good at it. He used to get a daily dad joke, and some of them were just absolutely ridiculous. And he's not even dad, but he would send them to me. I'm like, oh, that sounds like you.
Carl is the dad joke king, so that's where I get it from. I hear him all the time. Yep.
I've told her an eye roll is just as good as a laugh.
Yeah.
Like an eye roll is almost even better than a laugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
He gets a lot of that.
It's Tyler's Just the Tip. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I still can't get over that one.
Oh my.
I feel like we have to switch the voice on that.
What a sexy voice on that intro.
No, this tip I'm actually using right now, and this is the second time I've ever used it. When you want to do split clutches on snakes, or you have a male that might not be ready yet, female that's building, what you're going to want to do is pair it to any male you want, whatever. Wait until your male's ready, and hopefully they line up right. The best timing for a male to steal a clutch is when a female's at 26 to 28 millimeter follicles. So if you put the male you really want to get that clutch, put him in when she's between 26 and 28. If they get a lock, more than likely he'll take the clutch.
Really?
wow.
Yeah. So we'll see if that works again.
Yeah,
That's a Canova trick right there.
That's cool. That's good to know.
Yeah, that's real good to know.
I'm pulling that right now with a leopard spot nose pinstripe desert ghost, bred to a pastel Enchi yellow belly monarch het pied, She had been paired 3 times with a Super Enchi OD Hypo Clown. So either way, it's a good clutch, but I'm really hoping with this one lock, the male takes the clutch. It does depend too, like usually the male's got to be a good breeder.
Yeah.
Usually an older male, younger males, it doesn't really work as well for. But if you have a nice stud male, toss him in at the end and hopefully he'll take the clutch.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So your breeding projects for the future, is it just straight what you were talking earlier about the one I don't like that, Tyler's all obsessed with?
Why
No,
don't you
I like it. I like it.
Well, I guess I hear so many people talk about they don't like Monarch, but they like Ultramale. I'm like, how could you like one and not the other? They're too similar. It's like even people that say I don't like albino, but I like lavender albino. Like, are you kidding me? I don't know. I guess I hear that and I'm like, I don't understand that, because
It's a similar
they're
look.
more similar
but-
to each other than anything else out there. So
Right.
to like one and hate the other is weird in my mind. But Monarch is huge, and not just because we like it, but because that was Tom's thing. That was his baby. That was what he was strongly focused on. And we already were dabbling slightly in it, but we were still primarily hognose people before he passed away. And we were dabbling in a little bit of Monarch, a little bit of Dreamsicle stuff, Holy Grail stuff. We had a little bit of DG Clown stuff, and some clown combos, Krypton combos, that kind of thing. And then
I remember going to Dad's and like looking at tubs, helping him clean, looking at tubs, and I keep seeing these things I love. I'm like, oh, what is this thing? And I'd push it back and look at the tab. Desert Ghost. I'd be cleaning the next thing. Oh, look at this. Alicia, look at this one. She's like, I bet it's DG.
Yeah,
and
he always likes DG.
Me and Dad both had that eye. We're drawn to anything DG.
DG Enhancer. I remember we were helping him clean out a bunch of tubs. I don't know, it's been a couple of years ago. And Josh comes around. I'm outside doing the grunt work, like doing the actual tub scrubbing and stuff. And they're inside just shuffling and putting bedding in. And Josh comes out and holds the snake over his head, like, whoa. And I'm like, what in the world is he doing? And it was a Super Enchi pastel DG. Absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful adult female. And Tom lit up. He was so excited to see Josh excited about a ball python, because it wasn't typical for Josh to get too worked up.
Just a few months prior, we said those fateful words.
We're never
going to have ball pythons.
Yeah. And,
like as soon as we said that, we're like, I kind of want some
kind of
ball
like
pythons.
this stuff. And so Tom did send that one home with us, and we have bred her and had some really pretty babies out of her and stuff.
That'll be one of the legacy snakes.
Yeah.
That'll be one of the ones that will always be at the Harbin hut.
She's not going anywhere. She also tried to bite his crotch off not that long ago, and I was like, that's your snake.
That's balding right there.
Rodent, and she just came out. I was like, "Ooh, she about got you."
We were millimeters away from a disaster.
Snake too.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's like the hognose are still like our primary. That's still our biggest project area that we've worked on. Probably what I'd say our biggest financial investment.
What's funny though, at the shows, we can put every hognose we've got for sale on one table, and there'll be more animals on that table than 3 tables of ball pythons.
Yeah.
Ball pythons they're a bulky snake.
Yeah.
But we do love them both. Our primary is the hognose. In the hognose world, something that we got in with Dad
several years
before
ago
he passed was the Swiss chocolate morph.
Oh, that's beautiful too. Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's intense. It's like dark chocolate.
Yeah.
There's another gene called sable, which is a brownish gene, a darkening gene. It's a lot of people have confused the Swiss chocolate, saying, "Oh, it's just another sable." But the guy who discovered Swiss chocolate bred the two together and proved they're incompatible. So they're both unique.
And when you hold them next to each other, people can tell a significant difference between them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how good a Monarch looks next to an Ultramare. Just kidding. I can't even say it because I start laughing. I'm so awful with this.
Well, when Steven was over here a couple of weeks ago and he had fantastic lighting and a fantastic camera, we got a sable out and a Swiss chocolate and put them side by side. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you can easily see
huge difference. And the pattern change too. There are pattern differences and stuff. And so we got into that with Tom a while back, and then we've been fortunate enough to produce some stuff already out of our one pair that we got invested in. That was a lot to like take a chunk out of. Like in importing animals in for Switzerland. That was intense. Yeah. But Tom was like, oh, you just send this money over this guy you've never met and can't even speak English, and just they'll send some snakes. I'm like, what?
Okay, sure.
This seems so weird. And he trusted the guy, and I was like, all right, let's ship this guy a big old pile of money and just hope we get a snake. And we got him, and they did very well, and they've produced really well for us. But that was nerve-wracking, you know.
They flew directly over us from Switzerland. They went straight to California.
Yeah. The importer was California instead of Miami or New York. So then we watched them fly back over to Memphis, because Tom and I were all day at work, like watching like where they were landing and stuff like that on our shipments. And then they drove all of them into Montgomery, and then Tom went and picked them up, and then we went down the next weekend and picked our 2 up. But it was intense, like just waiting for those snakes to get there. And they've turned out to be wonderful snakes. And Tom, obviously, he still has some from his initial purchases, and so we're going to continue that on for sure, without a doubt. I mean, that was a big deal between, you know, all 3 of us wanting to work those genes together. So
if you had to get rid of the speed, which one would you keep? The hogs, the balls? I know you do other colubrids.
Yeah, we have corns. I love corns. I've always, I mean, like I said, I've had corns probably longer than anything, but if we had to just have like one species that we were breeding and keeping, it would be hognoses for sure, without a doubt. I miss the other things because the corn snakes are so freaking easy, guys. I mean, it's like it's a joke. I mean, they're so easy. They're very tolerant of anything, so they're really good first time animals for people. And you know, they live a very long time. Mine lived 29 years, and you know, they're just good snakes. But so are ball pythons and hognoses. You just have to know that person knows what they're getting into either way. And so we don't feel like we have difficult species to help pet owners get into.
Yeah, definitely.
And we still are pet. I mean, yeah, we may have monarch, you know, clown combo stuff that we're planning, but we're still big into making sure that we can provide things to the pet market too. We love talking to people and them getting their first snake and then coming back and getting their second snake. And, you know, that is a thing that I think so many people get so focused on being just purely high end. And I think that's fine if that's what they want to do, but that we've talked about it. And yes, we would like to have high end snakes to be able to provide that to the reptile community, but we get bigger kick out of seeing little kids get their first snake, or seeing a family decide on a snake, or maybe they get 2 snakes because they can't decide. We've had that happen several times, and we enjoy seeing that. And that's building the industry, because we have to have that groundwork of people wanting to purchase these animals that are considered pet level or entry level, whatever you want to call it. And then seeing them all of a sudden change into like, oh, I think I might want to breed this. I'm like, okay, let's help you get through this and figure out what you want to do, what you like.
I think one of the most fun times we had at a show was down at Dallas NARBC. We got invited to be on the Passport, which is the snake discovery scavenger hunt. So the kids have to come get a little book, and then they get stamped at different tables. So we had a stamp, and we set up like a little, here's a typical enclosure for each species we carried. So we had like a little hognose thing. We had a little ball python thing. And when somebody said, hey, do you have something I can hold? We take them straight to that section. They get to hold a snake. They get to see what the difference of substrates were. They did not need overhead lighting.
Like they got their belly heat, you know, what the thermostat setup looks like. And, you know, we had several people. What's that?
Said you guys need to sell those.
I know we
I
do.
need to get with Recoil, because we could have sold hundreds of those things by now.
So many of those.
I know. I tried in Nashville.
Yeah. And even when we were in Dallas, we thought Recoil was going to be there because that's where we had bought them from. Yeah. So I was going to go over and get a bunch of their cards and see what they already had like in stock, so I could be ready to go, hey, go over to and they didn't even set up. I'm like, holy crap. And I'm telling you, we could have sold them at least 20 different enclosures that whole weekend, just because of people wanting a similar thing to what we were showing, because we had small ones, medium, big one, that kind of thing. And it's nice to be able to show people that along with our care guides, just to help them go out and get the thing that they need and then come back, and then they can get their snake.
We throw around terms like substrate and enclosure, and thermostat, and we all know what that is. But to the new people, you can just see that glazed over look, like they don't know what's
going
about.
on. So we enjoy helping people figure that stuff out. So.
Well, is there any more questions, Travis? You're the question guy here.
Yeah, so I did have one more question. So when Tyler asked you guys, which would you stay in, hogs or ball pythons? Why is it hogs versus ball pythons from a business perspective?
They're just more entertaining. There's more variation in their entertainment capacity.
So the ball pythons definitely have every other species beat hands down for genetic diversity.
For sure.
If you can't find a color or a pattern in a ball python that you love, they're not the snake for you. But the hognose, even though they're limited in colors and morphs, the personality is just amazing. They are so fun. You walk in the room, and I think they feel our footsteps. About 7 or 8 of them hiss at you, like right out of the gate. It's like,
yeah, you can hear it. You can hear sometimes some of them will pop their cage. And then we've got a lot of clear totes that now, like when I start thawing stuff out, I've got all these like little faces like in the corner
can see
waiting.
one eye just looking at you.
They're staring at me and they're just looking like waiting for their food. And I like their size. You know, ball pythons aren't big, but hognoses, like I can have so many more of them in one space. And so, you know, I like that about them also. But
so it's actually about hoarding then more than anything else. You're staying in hognose because you can have so many more hognose than you could ball pythons.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Space efficiency.
They are space efficient. Yeah.
And Alicia's also said she likes the challenge of breeding them because you have to like be more careful with them with the ball pythons because they'll eat their mates if you're not careful with their eggs or whatever.
Yeah, it's not as easy. It's definitely more of an adrenaline rush through the spring. Just waiting for something to happen. I'm glad you said something. I paired a snake today. I hope he's still okay. Don't usually repair after they start laying, but I did on this particular one, and that's dangerous actually. That's when they get eaten, and so I'm gonna have to go back there and check on him. But she looked like she was into it, and he's a pretty big snake, but it is definitely more challenging. And I think I need a little bit of a challenge or I get bored pretty quickly. And ball pythons, not that they're easy, but there's so much more data out there. There's already so much more that has been figured out. Hognose, half the time, some of us hognose breeders talk, we're like, well, I don't even know what you do with this. Like, we just really don't know what we're doing. So we're all trying to like figure it out as we go. And even though we like, oh, let's do it like this. And then you've got like 10 others that just throw a loop into the whole plan. We're like, okay, these aren't reading the book. So we're obviously still not doing something right as breeders. And so, you know, they're fun like that though, because it is a lot more thought process for sure.
And am I wrong? Can you double clutch hogs?
Yes. Most of them, at least most of ours do. We've had a few this year that I don't expect them to double clutch, but that's the thing about with hognoses in general. You do have some breeders out there that can produce year round, but they've already got segmented areas where they're brumating at different parts of the year. So you brumate them down for 3 months, then you bring them up and then you start feeding and pairing immediately. And that brumation is what triggers them into that hormonal cycle. And so if you keep them in the dark and then brumate in the middle of the summer, you technically could have babies over the winter, but we haven't got to that level yet because we have one room that we keep them all in right now.
That's going to be the beauty of the building. We can control the climate and ecosystems much more carefully. And then we could actually do what I would consider actual studies. Because right now, all this stuff's in our house and it's almost impossible to keep the temperatures where we'd like to keep them. So we've got so many different units fighting each other in this house.
Yeah, we'll actually be able to do a little bit of a split brumation after this because we will have 2 separate adult rooms now. We'll be able to brumate a group down and then maybe even a month or month and a half later, brumate the next group and have it staggered a little bit more, which will be beneficial so that we're not just getting bombarded with eggs all at the same time, but we also have more stock comes the springtime. You know, we had a total between Tom and ours last year around 280 eggs or 80 babies, and we're down to like, I don't know, 20 now. And so, I mean, we start talking about late spring and stuff like that, our inventory's down, and really we could probably put those online, and most of them except our Swiss chocolate stuff would probably go pretty quickly. Swiss chocolate is still real high dollar right now. And so if it doesn't go, I'm not going to cry because we'll just will
keep
use
'em.
it
We'll put
in
'em
the
to work.
breeding program without a doubt. And that's another thing. They don't breed as long as as ball pythons. They have more complications than ball pythons. So you have to have a lot more holdback. You actually have as many males as you do females in your collection. It's a 1-to-1 a lot of times, or maybe two. A boy can go to 2 girls or 3 girls.
When those boys, when they're done locking, you go in there like scoop them up, and they're like a wet noodle.
Oh,
They're
flopping around.
they give it everything they've got.
It's a whole different process. And
Ball python, you just move them down the rack from tub to tub. They're all stars.
they don't burn
Or
out.
they're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Or they're doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Or yeah, they don't block at all. Yeah, exactly.
Are you guys, obviously you're scaling back a bit, but are you going to scale back the balls and increase the hogs, or scale, the hogs down as well?
I think this is going to kind of be not a reboot. It's a pivot. We realized we were over the limit of how many animals we could care for. So we're trying to scale down to a number that's more manageable, reboot our system, our methodology, and then probably scale back up to that number.
Yeah, there were quite a few of Tom's female hogs that we did not pair this year. We had the potential of pairing, I think, close to 50, 55 hognose females, and we ended up only pairing 29. And
we're in the middle of the building, transferring animals, and we wanted to keep it manageable. Next year, we've got the building dialed in. We may get a little crazy.
Yeah, and of course, you talk about pairing 29. And there's been a couple of girls that have slugged out, a couple of girls that haven't done anything. I still don't know what they're doing.
Handful of them get eaten.
Yeah. Well, some of the eggs get eaten, and so, I mean, even though it sounds like a lot, it's kind of predicting that we're not going to have everybody go, and not everybody's going to have big clutches. Not everybody's going to have double clutches. And so, and I'm still trying to figure out Tom's collection too, like as far as like their routine. They're very different personalities than ours. And so there was some that I'm not really sure, like some of them haven't even progressed into like what I would consider normal breeding pattern. I'm like, what is your deal? And
we did just transport them. So
yeah, we moved all those.
Take them a year or two to get settled.
And so we may have thrown them off cycle a little bit. And but
I think he played too much John Denver, and I don't think they like country, because a lot of them are pretty angry snakes.
Yeah,
so
it hits a lot.
We're going to switch them over to metal for a while and see if that's
some Snoop. There's a Snoop in there.
And then we're going to go to 90s Rep.
Yeah, 90s Rep, and see if that helps out. But no, that's been a challenge in its own, and just kind of figuring out, because I don't even know how old some of these are. I have no clue how old some of these snakes are. And
Dad went from like the paper cards, like the 3x5 cards was his record system. Then he jumped on to Husbandry Pro. Then he got tired of typing in so much stuff, and he went back to cards. Then the year before he passed, he went back to Husbandry Pro because we twisted his arm. We're like, you've got to have something to track this. That's just what customers expect now.
Yeah, and what he really wanted was the labels like we have that printed out with our QR codes at the shows. And he was bound and determined by Tinley of Spring that he was going to have that. So we were up there in January of last year, and we went through like making clutches and converting them into animals. And then we actually went through like printing out his labels and all that stuff. So he had slowly added the collection back into his Husbandry Pro. And so when he passed away, there were like, maybe like 5 or 6 animals that weren't in Husbandry Pro. And I'm pretty sure, based on his labeling and the substrate, he had just got those animals, like literally just at the last show, or they had just been shipped in. And so he just hadn't had time to put them in the system yet. And so that saved our butt, because we called Zach, and Zach immediately with Husbandry Pro got me access into the Husbandry Pro so I could see what we were dealing with, and go ahead and start like managing the collection immediately. And so that saved our butts big time, because if we'd walked into that collection with just the tags on the front of the cage, we would have been just screwed.
It'd been a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
It'd have been a lot on top of what was already a lot. So that
helped
system,
a lot.
That system was extremely valuable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Shout out Husbandry Pro.
Jamie, you got anything?
I think we answered the questions well.
Well, I thank you guys so much for coming on. It has been a pleasure to get to know you. Like I said before, when you were backstage, you guys were like my first reptile friends that I made here locally, and you guys are awesome. And It's been great getting to know you. You're just as kind as in real life as you appear to be on all these podcasts and stuff. So you really
Unlike
do.
Jamie.
Unlike Jamie, I'm just a witch.
Jamie,
But,
she'll
I mean, when
be
you
up
talk
in the
about-
back alley.
right. I'm from Detroit, so watch out. Don't meet me in the back alley. It'll go down. My Detroit will come out quick. But no, for real, I was one of those people that met you. And even though I didn't buy animals from you, I did come to your table to show my foster daughter what hognose look like.
Yeah.
And you really did help me. And I hadn't even bought anything from you guys. So you guys, your heart is in it. And I love being able to meet you. Your friendship is very valuable to me. You guys are a blessing to the industry. So you're
Yes.
awesome.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank
And
you,
I wish
Carl.
I had some Herpin Harbins
Yeah,
down the
Carl's
street
right
from
there.
me.
He's down in the basement. So he's always just kind of hiding somewhere. He doesn't like to get on.
Keep him in
He's
the
my
basement.
social butterfly in real life, but he's probably in the basement watching TV.
That's funny. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you to all of
Thank
our
you.
sponsors. Thank you again to my cousin Kobe. And we'll be seeing everybody next week. Bye.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.